Alright guys, so today I've got a list here of my top tools that I use in order to keep my digital privacy and security in check. This isn't going to be a large list or a long video, so I will try to go a little more in depth on the tools themselves, which include both hardware and software. This list is going to be in order of greatest to least, but they are still my top when it comes to the countless tools that I use to embark on this ever-changing landscape we call the internet. So for my first hardware tool, we will start off on the laptop front, and that particular laptop is the Lenovo X230 ThinkPad. The X230 is a great laptop for those of you who need to perform actual work on a machine, but still would like to maintain your privacy and security. You can pick one of these up for about 120 bucks on eBay or one of the Reddit hardware sales subreddits. And it is one of the newest machines that you can run Libre boot on, though I opted to core boot because Libre boot past the X200s only mitigates ME rather than erases it. I've got the i7 model, though if you're hurting to save a few bucks, you can typically find the i5 model for cheaper and not really lose out on much performance. And they also make custom boards for these to have a quad core i7 if you want to get your hands on 8 threads rather than be limited by 4. There's a huge modding scene for older ThinkPads, so if you want to change out the keyboard, if you want to get an adapter that lets you get a 1080p display, you can go pretty much any direction you want with it. I think really the 768p display is fine, though I have been looking in the modding mine to get an X220 keyboard. So I have, the classic 7 rows rather than the 6 rows. Plus, I think the keyboards on those feel a little bit better. My second hardware tool is my Google Pixel 6 Pro. I really recommend getting one of these and installing a privacy and security focused ROM on them. And the two that focus more on these phone lines is Graphene OS and Calyx OS. And note, I will not tolerate flame wars in the comments. These communities really do not like each other. Graphene OS and Calyx OS go in a little bit of a different direction when it comes to handling your digital privacy and security, and I have run both. Personally, I prefer Graphene OS's approach to things, as I have found the Play Services sandboxing method to be better for my OPSEC, but do your research when choosing which one you want to run, as they both handle things a little bit differently. If you are more paranoid like I am, then I'd run Graphene OS, but if you want a kind of set and forget experience, you'd probably be more at home with Calyx OS. My third hardware tool is a 32 gigabyte USB 3.0 flash drive. Now I know what you're thinking, right? You're thinking, well, why would that be a great tool for digital privacy and security? It's just a storage device. Well, let me ask you this. That disk that's in your computer is just a storage device, right? You use it to browse the internet, play games, and work, all within an operating system that you may or may not have installed on that storage device yourself. You see where I'm going at? The reason I say this random flash drive is a great tool is because you can install Tails on it, with or without persistent storage. Tails OS is a Linux distribution based on Debian that is designed specifically for privacy, security, and digital anonymity. It is audited by the real-world use of many actors who require a gold standard of these three things in order to operate on the internet, including journalists, activists, victims of abuse, etc. This listing technically includes both software and hardware, so it also serves as my number one tool in the software front as well. So with Tails OS out of the way, my second choice is OpenPGP. PGP stands for Pretty Good Privacy and is a tool for taking a message and encrypting it with keys so that only the intended party is able to read those messages, which includes excluding yourself from reading the contents of that given message. It uses both symmetric and public key cryptography, which means that you have both a public key and a private key that can be used to encrypt and decrypt data. Typically, you would use someone's public key to encrypt your message, and they would use their private key to decrypt it. Then they would use your public key to write back while you use your private key to decrypt it. It is a great tool that is also audited by the very same actors in the real world that use Tails OS. My third software tool for digital privacy and security is XMR, which is the abbreviation for the cryptocurrency Monero. Recently, I have made a video on mining Monero, by the way. If you were interested in Monero, go check it out. But Monero is a cryptocurrency, the only one I actually recommend that actually serves the purpose of a currency. Unlike Bitcoin, it is stable and also implements the practice of being private, anonymous, and secure through zero knowledge proof methods. I'm not going to go too in depth into Monero, but if you want to know why it is all the rage these days, the IRS currently has a 625K bounty for anyone who could develop tools to reliably trace Monero transactions, which was posted about 3 years ago, and although was awarded to a company, no visible progress has been made on this whatsoever, and the fact that it is still used to this day helps prove that. Everyone has a use for currency on this planet, and Monero, I think, is the best one when it comes to the digital front. Go and learn how to use Monero if you don't know how. I might make a small video on this in the future, by the way, and if you need to get a hold of some, either mine it or get it through an XMR market. I don't recommend using exchange. Local Monero is a great Monero market that doesn't require KYC, which is great, though you can get by this by just making another Monero wallet that you'll transfer the funds from the dedicated market wallet that you control. So it's like a wallet that you make specifically for transferring market funds into, and then you can transfer those funds to your other Monero wallet. My fourth and final software tools for digital privacy and security is none other than the Tor browser. Tor, also known as the Onion Router, is a network that seeks to enable truly anonymous communication. It is held up by volunteers who run 3 different types of relays, and believe me, there are thousands of these things. Back in the day, it was a little less secure running Tor due to the fact that there was a lot less relays out there, but that is no longer the case today and is pretty much at its goal of being a truly anonymous network, though there are alternatives such as I2P. Using the browser, you'll likely want to run with either safer or safest settings, although keep in mind that safest settings is only really adequate for browsing Onion sites, as Onion sites typically don't run JavaScript. Browsing Reddit and the like on safest settings is going to leave you with a bad time. But I don't really recommend browsing sites like this on Tor to begin with, despite the fact that they do indeed have .onion mirrors. And not only that, a lot of sites are not even going to be accessible with Tor because they'll block Tor IP addresses. You'll also have a lot of sites that will not run feasibly under Tor, such as YouTube. You're not going to want to be watching YouTube videos or any kind of video content on Tor because it is going to be insanely slow. Tor is not that fast. .onion sites are sites that run on the Tor network, and they can only be accessed via the Tor browser and its various forks, although I recommend just running it vanilla. Those are my biggest tools for digital privacy and security. You can go a lot further into this, but I wanted to make a 10-mile wide, 1 mile deep video covering this, and that is a 1,000-mile wide, 10,000-mile deep topic. Remember that at the end of the day, the user is the weakest link in any scenario, and it is up to you to make sure that you are practicing good operational security when using these tools. Thank you for watching my videos, guys, and I will see y'all in the next one.